Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's that time again, folks. Time for the world famous motion picture retribution power hour presented to you by the illustrious Evening Brothers. Take it away, band.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to MPRPH,
Oh,
the Motion Picture
It's
Retribution Power Hour. It is happening, and we come in...
Presented by the illustrious Evening Brothers. You forgot that bit.
I'm so sorry. I was so excited to get into our first segment of the day, which is, what the hell was Preston doing all of Dinotopia? Because something was going on that I was just off camera, and whatever it was going on was completely preventing you from speaking or engaging with that film. So we cut to Preston.
It was like a big brick wall between us, the podcast, and you.
Yeah, my microphone was having some audio
Preston,
issues. Super weird that you guys didn't
I don't
hear me
fucking think
say
it was because
anything.
you're...
Objection.
The thing is, okay, wait, no, this is a press release. Preston, pick me. Ooh,
Lincoln.
over here. Fuck you.
John, what were you going to ask?
I was gonna ask him, does he hate us?
Preston, do you hate us?
Jury's still out.
That's fair. That's actually fully fair. Now, Lincoln, ask him this time. Was he Lincoln?
Yeah.
Was he jerking it?
Were you?
Was he jerking it so good?
You can ask him that. I'm not going to ask him that.
Oh, okay. Preston, I have a question for you.
No.
Pick me.
No.
That's okay. Were you jerking it or what?
In order to clear his good name, he's going to have to tell us what he was actually doing.
Except
Yeah, either tell us what you were doing or you were jerking it. You were jerking it so right, so good, so
except
hard
that
to
you already
Dinotopia.
know what I was doing, which wasn't jerking it.
What was it?
I was drawing,
What
just
was
like
it?
you said.
Okay. You really were just drawing.
drawing?
Okay.
What were you drawing?
What was so important?
I legitimately don't even remember.
Was it Dinotopia fanfiction comics? Because if it was, I understand.
You know, I think I would remember if it was that, and it was not.
I think you'd
boy.
remember. I don't think you'd tell us.
I don't think we've introduced ourselves. I'm Brother Lincoln.
Oh, that's right. I'm Brother John.
And I am Brother Preston. The one who was just
Brother jerk
violently
off
attacked.
Preston. So anyway,
enough
what
day
the thing we
drinking
do
for
at this
John.
podcast is we make each other. It's full day drinking. We make each other watch bad movies, and then as punishment.
Yeah.
And Lincoln, I just want to get ahead of this real quick. You did something completely different.
Yeah.
We're always kind of chopping and screwing, stretching what the limits of punishment can possibly be. What you've done to us was not so much punishment as it was what I can only assume is like an FBI torture style of like, hey, you could be free, you could have cake, you could you enjoy all these delicious pieces of life, and then you're like, but you won't if you don't tell us whatever you did. And that's what you did to us. You showed us what it could be, and then you showed us what we had to
What it is.
actually talk about for the majority of this podcast.
Yes. So in this episode, I have asked John and Preston to watch two movies. The first movie, Children of Men, and the second movie, Babylon A.D. And the reason I had you watch it is because I watched Babylon A.D. weeks ago and thought, this will be right for my podcast. And so I was doing a little research on it, and I learned that a lot of critics were calling it a really poorly done ripoff of Children of Men. Then I watched Children of Men and discovered what might be like in my top 10 greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'd say that's fair.
So what I want to do is I want to do a little mini episode of Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour where we actually talk about Children of Men just for a second. Check in. What do we think about it? I got a few thoughts from John, but Preston, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What did you think of Children of Men?
Hold on, before we do that, while Preston's yawning, we can call this segment Children of Boys.
No.
Great. Welcome to Children of Boys. Preston, what do you think of the film?
You know, I really liked it right up until you called this segment Children of Boys.
I can
It
see
feels
that.
a little irreverent considering the subject.
Yeah, I feel like that
sorry.
makes light out of a fairly like serious and like bleak movie.
It's not it's not a documentary. It's not a real thing that did happen to us.
No, it's a real thing that's gonna happen to us.
Oh, good. Okay. That's nice.
But in all seriousness, take Jokes, pat him on the head, tell him, be quiet for now. Preston,
Good job, Jokes.
as your friend, I want to know what you thought of this movie.
It was good. I enjoyed it. It was well done.
Yeah, and what do you think of the scene where they get attacked on the road and she gets shot and killed?
You know, that was the one thing. I feel like they set their relation. I don't know. I feel like they didn't make their relationship enough of a thing for me to have that moment have as much weight as I think it should have.
As much weight. Interesting.
Yeah.
John, what did you think of that scene, of that moment?
Well, Lincoln, first of all, thank you for asking. Second of all, I just need to inform you that in this moment, Jokes is not sitting quietly in the corner. Jokes is clawing at me like I'm in the movie Drag Me to Hell.
Okay.
But I'm going to avoid Jokes. I'm going to not do Jokes. But no, I thought that this was just a phenomenal film. I think that it's one of those things where I watched it, I never would have seen it on my own because the premise is pretty bummer town. Just as a concept, I could already tell just reading a little bit into it, it's gonna be a rough go. It's not gonna be a fun little action adventure piece.
Not a fun little action adventure piece at all.
And so I feel like I would have a hard time watching it by myself, just of my own volition, even though it would fall very, very firmly on that list of movies that I have of I know that this would be a hugely impactful piece of cinema, and I just can't make myself go on ahead and watch it because I'd rather be watching something fun and light if I have the time. So I appreciate that you made us watch this movie because I really I do think this is, I agree, one of the best movies I've ever seen, and in a way that doesn't feel annoying about it. It doesn't feel you see those movies actually ironically Babylon, not Babylon AD, but Babylon, the Damien Chazelle movie, where it's super, super well made and really brilliantly put together, and there's just some part of it that knows that it's made by the guy who made La La Land, and it just it kind of reeks of that ooh, I made this cool thing everybody likes. This has none of that.
No.
Children of Men was one of the most impactful films I've ever seen. So yeah, it was just spectacular.
It's very honest,
and that scene I thought was really good.
And unpretentious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those, I love style in movies. If a movie has panache and has a cool vibe and a cool style, it'll carry bad writing for me. But this movie was all substance. It was a movie that was so engrossing in its subject matter that it was the style is just bowing out of the way to a really well-written, really compelling, really emotional story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, not competent makes it sound like it was bare bones, but it was a very competently made film that had this world that I was so engrossed in, and even down to I was reading graffiti on the back walls trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and so for the sake of, I think, the rest of this discussion in this podcast, I'm going to summarize the movie really quick. It is
that's a good idea.
A disillusioned, depressed, lonely British man who used to be a revolutionary is kidnapped by his former revolutionary friends and promised a large sum of money, $5,000, if he takes a woman from central London to the border to get her out of the country. And this is all happening in a world where for the last 20 some odd years, humans have been infertile, unable to have children completely. The current youngest living human had just died. He was 18 years old. And the woman he's being asked to bring to the border is pregnant. And so you have this hope, this promise for the future, and it all hinges on this disillusioned, this depressed, tired man kind of having to pull himself together and learn to care about something again. And it's told against the backdrop of this dystopian Orwellian version of England.
And the thing that I think is so interesting, you kind of touched on it earlier, about his character, is that he he eats a bunch of cats and shoots all these cool people in their cool heads with a sweet gun and has a bunch of cool Oh no, I'm sorry. Wait, that might have been a different movie.
Wrong movie. That's Babylon AD. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
My bad. Sorry, stupid me.
The really cool
but
thing
he has
about...
a bunch of cool muscles, right? And he does cool stuff.
Yeah, he's really cool stuff, and
That's
he's
what
highly
that's what his
motivated
character
and
is?
extremely mentally healthy. Oh no, sorry, wait, that was
Yeah.
Babylon AD again.
Oh no, that might have been the other one. I mix them because they're so similar.
Yeah, so Children of Men is great. I'm so glad I made you both watch it. I'm glad I made myself watch it because it's so good.
Yeah.
Babylon AD is a movie starring Vin Diesel where he plays a disillusioned
That is just as good.
former criminal who is asked with escorting a young woman beyond the Russian border into America. And the reason that this is happening is it's the future. That's it. There's no apocalyptic event. It's just the future.
I mean, I would argue that there is an apocalyptic event that they kind of hint around, but yeah, go ahead.
That there was a Cold War, that there was a nuclear war.
Yeah, a hot war is what we call it.
Yeah, a hot war is what you call a Cold War when it goes nuclear. But it only seemed to affect very specific parts of the world. It seems like America's pretty much fine.
100%, yeah. Which I think could be a large section of this episode if you guys want to dive deep into that. I think we could workshop some potential futures where this happens. Like what got us here?
Like what?
I
what
don't
exact
think it's
sequence
that
of events
far.
would lead to Vin Diesel living by a what would you call it? Like Gunshot Boulevard in an apartment and cooking dead rabbits off the street and frying them up with onions and eating them and drinking a glass of
rabbit. I thought that was I would have put money on that being a cat.
I'm pretty sure it's a rabbit because a cat is the most buck wild thing you've ever said.
I was pretty thrown off by it. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm also 95% sure it was a rabbit.
Yeah.
No fucking way. All right. Interesting. I'm going to have to reassess my animal perception skills at some point, but that's okay.
Yeah, so if in case this wasn't clear enough from our beginning this conversation, Babylon AD is 100% a badly done ripoff of Children of Men.
It really truly is.
And I think it's easy to we could spend the podcast picking apart Babylon AD by comparing it to Children of Men. We could talk about the fact that the protagonist starting out competent and awesome and motivated does not make for a very compelling story. We could talk about the fact
Kinda
that
sucks.
a woman with a supercomputer implanted into her brain is a lot less compelling than a woman who is able to bear children, unlike every other human being on the entire planet. We could talk about that this weird romantic subplot between the person that the man is asked to escort and the person he's escorting is gross, and Children of Men didn't do it even a little bit. There was no hint of that whatsoever.
It's gross conceptually, and also it's gross because I think she might be like 15, I'm pretty sure. Like, in terms of movie standards, she's not old, for sure.
Well, yeah, when in Babylon AD, there's a moment where you think they're going to kiss, Vin Diesel and this young girl he's been asked to move. And I literally paused the movie and turned on IMDb and checked those actors' ages. When they filmed it, Vin Diesel was 40 and she was 27. Which, if that was their ages in the story, I guess that would be borderline, but probably like, you know what, fine.
Sure.
But in the story,
I don't think it was,
she is
though.
clearly supposed to be like 17 to 19 years old. She's supposed to be like not
And
having been exposed to the world.
Only one of those is barely okay from a legal standpoint, but still pretty
and not
morally
okay from
objectionable.
any other standpoint.
So are you suggesting, Lincoln, that we don't take the rest of the podcast to kind of pick and piece the differences between the two? Because I think I support that.
I think if one seems to come up and you feel like it's illustrative of what makes a good movie work and therefore what makes Babylon AD fail, I think that's great. But I think we can highly recommend our audience watch Children of Men completely unironically and then just enjoy talking about Babylon AD.
Like, possibly to the point that I think anything after the back half of Children of Men might, I would say, be off topic, like off the table for discussion, just because I want you to
the timelines kind of diverge there.
It would be an
it's worth
offense
watching.
to Children of Men to continue comparing them.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
So the first thing I want to bring up about Babylon AD is Jonathan. when you texted us, you said, Babylon AD is very boring. And then
Right.
25 minutes later, you texted, never mind. Then,
Right.
half an hour after that, you texted us, never mind my never mind. That was boring as fuck.
Yeah,
So
I did.
can you tell
I
us,
did
can you
go
just
on
walk
ahead
us
and do
through those
that.
moments, please? I would love to hear
So,
exactly what moments you thought
yeah.
was boring and not boring, and then boring again.
Yeah, let me kind of walk you through it, take you on a little journey through the mind of John. So it started kind of interesting because it was like, okay, how much of this is going to be Children of Men and how much of this is going to be like, its own thing. And then about 20 minutes into the movie, I realized, it's so blatantly clear that when Vin Diesel cares about a role that he's in, and this is not one of those.
This is not one of those
for us
movies.
to see. This
There's
is
a
not
lot
one
of
them
oblique
times.
staring across the middle third.
There's a lot of him, I can only assume, right before the take saying, what's the line again? Okay. I hate you, Gorchovsky, or whatever his name is. So, yeah, I don't remember exactly when I texted you the first, this is extremely boring, but I would say it encompasses most of the first bits of the film.
Yeah.
When it got interesting to me, when I texted you, never mind, was when we realized, and it seems late in the movie, late in the game, but I didn't realize that, when we realized that this concept, this little nugget of an idea, that the movie is like, ooh, here's something, it's clear that was what made them make this movie, is this kind of twist idea, that like she is the virgin, they're trying to replicate a virgin birth to make their religion seem valid and seem like a real deal thing.
And they being the
And
people
then-
who genetically engineered this girl 18, 19 years ago.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
sent her to the
correct.
middle of nowhere for no discernible reason. And then have now asked
Yeah,
Vin
well-
Diesel to come pick her up and bring her back.
Right, yeah, we got to get her back.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. So that was when I texted you never mind, because I was like, oh shit, that's an idea. That's something that I genuinely think is pretty smart and interesting. And then when I texted you never mind my never mind was when I realized that the movie couldn't give a quarter of an ounce of shit about that concept at all. Just couldn't care less. Doesn't matter. It affects no future of the film, no part of the story even is slightly addressing that. It's just true, and then the movie moves on.
Movie moves on. Isn't it funny watching? I think they're called the No Lights. They're this religious organization that have basically like paid this genetic engineer to create a girl who is going to have a supercomputer in her brain, and she's going to be able to perform miracles and be like the new savior. And the leader is played by the Reverend Mother from Dune. Preston, did you realize that?
I did not until just now.
Did her voice sound familiar though?
Yeah, no, she looked really familiar. I couldn't quite place it.
And then she started talking about like that we've been planning this miraculous future child for generations.
Hey, John, do we think there's a coincidence here as to why Lincoln made us watch?
No, we're not there
I
yet.
can't
Is there-
imagine
Wait till
there's
the
a
end.
coincidence
Is there a
to
possibility that this
any
is
part of what happened
this
here.
is he picked this entire movie just as a segue so he could talk about Dune?
He just wants to talk about Dune. He just wants to do his sub podcast Dune Talk 2024.
No, it's called what? Wait, what did I call it?
I think you called it Dune It Right.
Dune
if
It
I
Right.
remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it was called Dune It Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, it's the sequel to that podcast called I Love You to the Dune and Back.
you're so much better at Dune related, considering how much less you care about Dune than me. You're so much better at coming
Lincoln,
up with Dune
that's because you have too many thoughts in your brain about Dune. I hear Dune, I think Timothy Chalamet, big sandworm, and then my brain is free and clear to think about fun puns to say on this podcast.
What if we did a crossover with Bugs Bunny and we called it Looney Dunes?
That's good. That's fun.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's a good
Thank you. That was
Yeah,
great feedback.
uh-huh.
I'll keep workshopping it.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Tasmanian Devil is the big sandworm. Just throwing that out there.
Yep.
It actually, hold on. I'm appreciating the idea of the exact scene from Dune Part 2 where he rides the sandworm, but in the background you just hear.
I'm into that.
I was thinking
me too.
Roadrunner would be also a sandworm.
Oh, interesting. I think Roadrunner would be Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, he's Lisan Al Gaib.
Yeah.
Lisan Al
Lisan
Beep
Al Meep Meep.
Yeah, we both had the same idea. Anyways, Babylon AD is awful.
Yeah,
They
it's a tough
How would you
movie.
feel if I just walked us through the plot? You, John, and you, Preston, tell me the thoughts you have, and then we'll get to whole movie discussions in just a little bit.
It seems reasonable.
Great. So, start
Can
off.
we just start at the beginning, which is my least favorite opening to any movie ever, which is I bet you're wondering how we got here.
Yep. It zooms in and
Fucking hate those.
and Vin Diesel's like, God saved the earth for what? I fucking hate life. It's the worst. Life's a bitch and then you die. And then you're like, okay, but every once in a while you get a second chance. And then your brain goes, okay, this is a clumsy narrative device, but at least they are telling me this movie is going to be about Vin Diesel's character getting a second chance, which doesn't happen until an hour and 15 minutes into this hour 40-minute film.
And do they completely waste it? Absolutely.
Yeah. And so the movie's kind of false advertising right away. And then we smash cut. He's waking up. He's in a Call of Duty lobby. And he is hearing gunshots all around. People are jumping around, teabagging each other, using all their emotes. And he's in the collapsed Soviet Union after what has clearly been a massive war that has happened. And he walks up to a man who sold him a gun that didn't work. And he starts yelling at him. And then at the very end, just barely audible, you hear him say, I paid $20 for that gun.
Yes.
And
yeah, to the point that I had to turn on subtitles and go back just to make sure that I heard that correctly.
I paid $20. And part of me goes, okay, Vin Diesel, my friend, you just lost a lot of credibility by complaining that this gun doesn't work when you paid, in however far in the future this is, $20 American for a gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you should be glad it
But
didn't
do you
explode
think-
in your hand and kill you, dude.
Does it seem like this is a movie that is trying to say, oh, $20 is a lot of money and like money's harder to come by, which is why $5,000 is enough for him to like risk his life and do a bunch of shit?
No, wait, no, John, your $5,000
nope,
is
mixing movies.
Children of Men.
Am I?
Yeah, he
Holy
gets
shit.
$500,000. He gets $500,000.
You're right. Oh fuck, never mind. $20 is no money for a gun. That's almost nothing.
and-
That's a McHamburger.
And when he's talking to Gorsey, he says he'll do it for $500,000.
Yeah,
When he's talking to Colin Farrell's the Penguin.
yeah.
I need you to
But just with the
refer to
worst
him as his
prosthetic
actual
nose you've
character
ever
name.
seen in your life.
Holy shit, that was guys. Can I say I think it's partially because I'm just a little tipsy right now, and that is mostly Preston's fault because I was planning on one drink and then I drank that drink waiting for him to join the podcast.
You're welcome.
But also that was a real moment for me because I fully thought that was what was going on.
It's you are drunk enough that you attributed the good decisions of Children of Men to Babylon AD.
Yeah. I was like, certainly they didn't make some dumb call like suggesting that a gun would be $20.
Unless the whole world, money has had much greater value because there's much less like economic commerce happening.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Babylon AD is not a movie that is thought through. So anyways, Vin Diesel gets he gets his money back, I guess, by reaching into another man's pocket and digging it out. And then he buys a rabbit and an onion and he cooks it. And this is where we see Vin Diesel as a emotionally stable, healthy man who has time and kind of resources in his life to make his own dinner and serve it in a real plate and drink a glass of wine.
Make it
and
a home-cooked
honestly,
meal.
good for him. Good for him. Like,
Yeah.
I barely managed to do that. So good job, dude.
It's a tough go.
But alas.
This is also where we see his the superpower that he has that they don't really talk about, his mutant superpower, or possibly the logic of the film, which is if there is an explosion, as long as you're turned away from it, you're gooch.
You're all
fine.
good. Yeah.
Like it's not gonna hurt you. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, so an explosion happens and a bunch of Russian people come in and kidnap him and take him to Gorshky, who as we mentioned before, has the worst prosthetic nose you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Gorski says, "You seen Children of Men?" And Vin Diesel goes, "Yep." And Gorski says, "I need you to do basically the same thing."
We're doing one of the Children of Men. We're doing it, Children of Men.
And he goes, "I'll do it for $500,000." And they're like, "Sweet." He gets handed a passport, which looks like a tiny cartoon rocket, and he puts it in his pocket. And he walks out of this armored tank and then gets into a car, which is then lifted up by a helicopter. And then Russian national communist music plays over the speakers. And that was my favorite moment of the whole film.
You know, right up to that scene, I was like, you know what? I feel like this might be a good movie. I feel like I'm going to like this in the same way that I like another Vin Diesel movie that we've watched.
Yeah. Triple X?
Yeah, Triple X. Thank you. I was blanking on the name.
X,
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, this is another Triple X. This is great. And then...
But then he gets out, and to our great surprise, Michelle Yeoh's there.
Yeah, she's just hanging out doing some cool stuff.
She's great. She's totally fine in this movie. She is literally given absolutely nothing to do, but I love seeing her on screen, and that's enough for me.
Yeah. They gave her absolutely nothing to work with,
happy.
And she did it really, really well.
Yeah.
And except at one point, she like punches a guy in the face, and I like almost audibly cheered right then. And that's the only good moment she has in this movie, and it wasn't nearly enough.
Yeah,
that is true.
Much. And she introduces us to, I don't remember her name, this blonde girl,
Aurora.
I
think her name was MacGuffin.
Wait, Preston, do you remember?
Aurora.
Oh, and also...
It was that, because they have that dog shit scene.
Where they're at the Aurora Borealis, and it's like, get it? Get it, guys! Get it! And and also Vin Diesel's character's name is Yaroop.
I believe it was Europe.
I think it's Yaroop.
Is it Torup?
I think it's... Oh, no, it's Turup.
Turup. Oh, sorry.
It's Turup.
I didn't even drink anything.
The same amount of right.
Turup.
Are you guys... Wait, hold on. Wait, everybody shut the fuck up. No, Preston, I don't give a shit about... That's pretty good, actually. We'll talk about turnip later. You boys, my brothers in podcasting, am I the only one drinking right now?
Yep.
Dude, I gotta work tomorrow.
I thought we had a deal. That explains why I'm enjoying this so much more than you.
You're already too deep. And it's like 6 in the morning.
If we record on a Friday podcast, I am I'll light up right with you. But a Wednesday podcast
3 in the afternoon.
Is not the time to drink.
I know. Lincoln's got a big boy job now. Can't have any fun.
Oh no!
Do you guys
Everyone's
remember
gone.
that time?
Everyone's getting lost. Everyone's freezing. I think it's my fault.
Oh no! It's happened again. This is gonna be a segment of the podcast. Where
you guys are fine.
Disconnect
I'm still
from
here.
Each other and
Lincoln,
create our own
I can
thing.
hear you. You're fine.
It's fun. It's like divulging different.
Hello?
Preston, can you hear me?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
leave
can
and
hear
come
both
back.
of you just
So if you can
fine.
hear me, I'll be back in a second.
That's cool. Oh, Lincoln's gone. Yeah, I could hear you too. I think it's just Lincoln.
It was just me. Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, you're back.
Not your face, but
Yeah, that's fine.
Your face is
we
gone.
didn't want to see that.
Didn't. You know what's exciting is that this is the second episode in a row that this has happened. And we're just gonna keep on keeping on.
Keep on trucking. I think it's partly my fault. I'm gonna come up with a better internet situation. I'm too far away from the router.
Do you guys remember that time that Vin Diesel pulled out a Google Maps for $399 MSRP? Because that scared me pretty deep in my heart.
I do.
In this movie?
I do like that there is
in this
zero
movie.
reason to have like a folding map like that. Because either you have a small
If it
screen
is also
that you
paper.
just scroll
A
around
zooming
on,
touchscreen?
or you have it unfold into a big screen that you don't have to scroll around on. And yet he has to unfold it and then scroll around on it.
And the effect would be cool if they bothered to match his finger movement with the movement of the screen even a little bit.
Or if
Yeah, that couldn't
they
hurt.
like cared about it enough,
it's got-
besides just like, hey, look, cool future thing that we did. Okay, now put
And
cool
then
future
are
thing
never gonna
away
do again.
because we're not going to look at it ever again.
Yeah, it's real
Yeah,
like
that is kinda what
McDonald's
happens.
kiosk energy with the touchscreen technology they have. Yeah, that's true. And also, it would make way more sense if they just used paper maps because that'd be like the more secure way. Like that felt like that was the vibe. And so when everyone else has access to this cool technology, he's going to still use a paper map to like navigate.
And it's not even like
Yeah,
the
but that
map was
doesn't help.
important at all. Like it didn't have a route on it. He scrolled around, picked a route, and then just went. But then
And he never
like,
referred
yeah,
to
he
the
was
map
like, "Oh,
again.
I
he's
am
clearly
going
like,
to
oh,
there."
we need to get on this train. Like he clearly knows what they need to do. So why did he need to open up this trunk and then scroll
he
around
actually
on
had
his
to
map?
had to select the map, and then he had to press the touchpad in the center of the controller to add it to his inventory. And from then on, it was in the bottom left corner of the screen, and he could check back on
This
it at any
does-
time.
This does feel like the movie adaptation of a sequel to a pretty bad video game.
Yeah, it's from like Crunch Time 2, still crunching.
Yeah. Crunch Time 2 Still Crunching, the movie. Presented by Lionsgate.
Yeah, I actually think I would have liked Crunch Time 2, still crunching the movie more than this movie. I like the zany ensemble cast of Crunch Time 2, still crunching.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. John Belushi, Chris Rock,
Jim Carrey,
Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey,
Ryan
his
Reynolds
twin brother
as
that
a 12-year-old.
they never released. 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds, 12-year-old Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It was so cool.
They were both playing their Red Notice guys.
I love that movie. Why don't we review that?
Why do we not talk about Crunch 2 Still Crunching, the sequel to Crunch 1, the movie by Lionsgate, more often?
I love C2SCTM. I'm part of the C2. Wait, I gotta think of it again. C2SCTM fan community. r/still
Yeah.
crunching. Let's form a spin-off podcast called Crunch Time.
Time for Crunch Time is it'll be Crunch Time. It's time for Crunch Time. And then we open the podcast by saying, "Hey guys, guess what time it is? It's Crunch Time 2. Time for Crunch Time. Time for Crunching Time. Time for Crunch Time."
Why every
And
time
then that's-
we have
it's
an
the
extended
whole-
universe,
actually-
it ends with John just saying gibberish.
Yeah, the final
just spouting nonsense every time, no matter what the bit originally was. It ends with like beep boop 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 beep 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 bop boop boop beep boop.
the Infinity War culmination of this franchise is just me on a screen for 2 hours and 15 minutes going Crunch Time for Crunch Time Crunch Time
Puppet, job, beep boop beep cookie.
Yeah, it's called Crunch Time 16 Scatman Carruthers.
It's called Crunch Time Corrupted. Now I gotta. Why do we invent such fantastical worlds only to have to step back through the wardrobe over and over again?
Oh man, it's a good question. Oh,
Anyways, they go to a market. Aurora freaks out, has a mental health moment, and then it explodes. And then they go on a train. She speaks Mongolian and gets them on the train, which is useful. Then they go to a nightclub, and this nightclub is also a fight club. And
they don't go to a nightclub. They go to the Shang-Chi Fight Club from Shang-Chi the movie. That's where they go.
They go to Shang-Chi nightclub fight club, and they
Shang-Chi nightclub fight club fight nights.
No, John, don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Shang-Chi fight night fight crunch. Oh god, get me out of here,
John. I
can't escape.
I think I've did you know that this was the core element of your sense of humor until this very moment?
No, I didn't realize I had this inside me.
And then more than that, that's all there is. Deep
Yeah,
down.
you scoop that out like a pumpkin. I'm nothing inside.
Okay. They go to Shang-Chi nightclub fight club. And they meet with a sketchy guy who's not Stanley Tucci. But he's bears enough of a resemblance to make you wish it was.
He's Stanley Tucci, but the 2 in Tucci is a 2, the number 2.
And then his son is called Stanley Nucci. Okay, we gotta stop doing this to ourselves.
Only Tucci, too
man.
furious.
You're saying that they met up with Stanley Tucci, Too Furious, and Shang-Chi's nightclub fight club. It was a Stanley Shang-Chi nightclub fight club meet.
This is Stanley Tucci nightclub fight club nightclub fight nights.
Okay, I think if
we
are
on the precipice of losing listeners.
If we have listeners, I think we just lost.
We're well over the
We lost
precipice.
80% of them. The final 20% though, we just locked them down. They just wet their pants with how hard they were laughing just now.
Oh man.
And I think we have our episode title, which is Tucci Shang-Chi nightclub fight club crunch time.
I really do like the idea of a title, but it's just so fucking incomprehensible.
It looks like the tags of a children's YouTube video.
Yeah, we've been playing around with the idea of a title that doesn't really connect to the movie. This is just full send doing like a URL. This is what the title is.
A
Just
URL
bit.ly
that directs you to malware. This is like the speech equivalent of a QR code.
You're gonna try to upload this to Spotify, and there's gonna be 2 captchas to make sure you're not a bot coming up with this title.
You guys, I'm openly weeping.
And I think
I don't think I've ever laughed this hard in my life. Holy shit.
this is the first time in all of our podcast history that our Find Your Funny is going to be kind of a like landing moment. It's going to be a grounding, a centering moment.
We need our Find Your Funny to get back on track.
We need to find our cohesion. Okay, guys, welcome to Find Your
man.
Cohesion.
We're a little too
man.
funny right now. We gotta dial it back.
Yeah.
We were. Yeah.
I think the song for Find Your Cohesion, if I may, let me look for the file. Okay, here it is. Find Your Cohesion. Ba-da-ba-bum.
It does have the McDonald's theme at the end, just to be clear.
Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Find Your Cohesion, baby.
Okay, here is the game. This, you two are boys, and you're my friends, and I wanted to get to know you
goddamn
better.
right we're boys, and you're goddamn right we're friends.
And I wanted to get to know both of you better, and so I asked the internet to help me, and I asked, what can I ask my boyfriends to get to know them a little better? And I found this wonderful, cool website called teenvogue.com. And it was written just exactly for people like me, which is to say 23-year-old straight men. And
Sure.
it has a bunch of questions to ask your friends that are boys. So here's how this game is going to work. I'm going to ask Preston you a question. I'm going to ask John the same question. Both of you are going to answer as if you were me. You have to answer what you think my answer is. And in the end, I will choose which answer more closely lines up with what I actually real life personal think. Do the rules make
So
sense?
it's not so much It's not so much a game to get to know us better as it is a game for us to try to pretend we know you better.
Yeah, it's to test your current knowledge of me. Because when you're trying to get to know your friends better, it's helpful to know where they stand in relationship to.
Well, that's
to you.
true. That is true.
So we're gonna ask 5 questions. Each of you are gonna give 5 answers, and whoever has the most points at the end will win. Okay. Here is your first question. It is under the deep questions section on teaguevogue.com's 61 questions to ask your boyfriend to get to know him better. Here it is.
Gotta go deep with your boyfriends.
Question number 12 from Deep Questions. What are you afraid of? You have 30 seconds to come up with your response. 30 seconds is way too long. You have 10 seconds. 5.
30 seconds is
4,
so long.
3, 2, 1, go. John.
The idea that you will be unceremoniously thrusted onto a stage to do slam poetry and you haven't prepared at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good fear. Okay, Preston.
Being forced to admit that you're a hipster.
Oh,
Okay, Preston wins that one.
Fuck me. That was my favorite. That's the best answer I've ever given to any question ever. Preston wins the game. Congratulations, Preston.
To be fair,
Question
John,
number 2.
I did think your answer was better, but since I won, suck it.
Thank you.
Question number
that's
2.
fair. That's fair. Well, hold on. You won 1 round.
You won the round 1.
I did give up a
out
second
of
ago.
4. Or out of 5, I mean, because there can't be a tie.
And you had the benefit of going second.
So this time
which
Preston's going to go
obviously-
first.
There we go.
This is question 16 out of relationship questions. What are some non-sexual forms of intimacy that I enjoy? You have 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Preston, go ahead.
Listening to music on obscure forms of media.
Preston's really sticking to one Lincoln vibe right now. Okay, John, what is your answer?
He is. My answer was going to be allowing me to play saxophone for you and then telling me how I could have done better, but as a Fremen from Dune.
Oh, John runs away with that one.
Damn, the Dune was good. The Dune was good.
We're fucking tied.
Okay, question number 3. What if if money weren't a limitation, where would I travel to tomorrow? You have 10 seconds.
No.
John, you're going to go first.
Get your brain out of Dune. Get
5,
out of Dune world. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Go, John.
Not New York.
Okay. And Preston. What is your answer?
I'm sorry.
Oh, he's still reeling. Wow. This hit Preston harder than it hit me.
A Bob Dylan concert.
So hard.
A Bob Dylan concert.
Oh, that is good. Fuck.
Oh. I think since Preston's was a place that is like not most of the earth, I gotta go with Preston.
Here's the thing though, Preston's wasn't a place so much.
It was a place and a time. Well, I'm the ruler
I understand.
of this
I'll
game.
give him the point, but no, I'm not fighting that. I'm
Question
just
number
saying,
4.
You know? Okay.
Who is my
Reborn.
celebrity crush?
Oh, Lincoln's celebrity crush.
And Preston, what is your answer?
Aurora?
From Babylon AD?
Fictional woman Aurora from Babylon AD.
Okay.
With the what with the fish eyes?
What with the fish eyes and the like clearly child-coded energy? Yes, of course. Okay, and John.
Rapunzel from Tangled.
Ooh, John got it in one. If
Yes!
I would have preferred. I would have really loved it if either of you had said like a real person, for instance, like a Dakota Johnson or a Emma Stone.
I'm not gonna lie. I did think about saying David Lynch, but not because of the films he makes, just because it's a pretentious answer to anybody's favorite question, which is what is your favorite director?
Final question. John wins. It is tied. This is the tiebreaker.
Oh. Okay, I gotta come out strong because so far
Yeah.
the second has won every single one.
I think I'm just trying to keep it tied so that the game has a point. What values do you
So
think
you're saying-
make for a healthy relationship? What values do I
saying-
think
oh, wait, I
make
missed-
for a healthy relationship?
What values do you think make for a healthy relationship?
Yes, me.
Okay.
Wait, who's going first, John?
Yeah, it's gotta be me.
Okay, go.
Well, you didn't give me 10 seconds.
sorry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The values and codes of Dinotopia, just as we live and die by them.
Just as we live and die for them. Okay, Preston. It's gonna have to be strong.
Ability to quote the prophecy from Dune at any given moment.
Ooh.
Preston, what we were looking for was litany against fear. John,
Damn it!
you win.
You know,
Yes!
Lincoln, in the back of my head, as soon as I said the prophecy, I was like, I should have said the litany of fear. That would have been way better.
So, John, thank you. You won the game.
Wait, does that make me your best boyfriend?
It makes you my best boyfriend.
Yes! I did it.
How does it feel?
Kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, Babylon AD ends with Vin Diesel stopping the bad guys from capturing the girl, and then he gets exploded by a missile, and then his brain gets resurrected, and he gets source coded back into his memory, and his memory reveals the secret location, and he finds her there and takes her to the hospital, and then months later she gives birth and then dies.
Yeah. Kind of a weird end to the movie, in my personal professional opinion. Kind of felt like they thought about how cool it would be if somebody shot a missile at some guy's DNA and then they forgot that they had to end a movie after that.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, there's no third act.
No, the third. Well, you think there's gonna be a third act, and then it ends, and then you're like, "Wait, what's happening?" And then they just kind of drive a car to a place and go pick up someone and get back in the car and leave.
Yeah, and it more or less goes pretty all right. Like there's a fight scene in the cars, if I remember correctly. Although I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of falling asleep at this point.
There is not.
But like
They just leave.
there's not at all. Are you sure?
Yeah, there's no.
There's no fight scene at the end with the cars.
There's
I do not
the
remember
snow
what I had
bikes,
on that.
and then then they get off the snow bikes, and then there's a whole lot of nothing.
Then there's the one.
I would have put like a pretty substantial amount of money on the, not saying exciting, but just this idea that somebody's like ramming cars and there's a big car crash, and does that not happen at all?
Not well. That happens before he gets blown up by a missile.
Is that right?
And then
Interesting.
the Bene Gesserit drive really fast to get to the cabin, and then they already missed her, and then he's just gone.
Well, maybe I dreamt a better movie then.
I'm pretty sure, at
Interesting.
least. I don't know. Maybe all our memories are just totally messed up about this movie. Anyways, what are your final impressions, ideas, sharing, notes about this movie?
I got a few notes. Do you mind if I just kind of run down them real quick?
Yeah, let's go.
They should have had the balls to call it Babylon Babies, like the book it's based on.
They should have.
One.
Babylon AD makes no sense at all.
It doesn't make any sense. extremely long tank interior with the flat screen TVs. I didn't like that.
That was the best part of the whole
That
movie.
was no good. Nah.
Preston
all right.
would like to live there.
I've got one, just one like. I'm gonna do kind of what we did with Dune. I'm taking my comparison and I'm cashing it in.
Okay, do it.
I wrote here, Children of Men felt like a mystery revealing itself to me. Babylon AD feels like someone shoving a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle directly into my eyeballs.
Figure it out.
So yeah, it's just like, is that a corner piece? So I don't know.
Yeah, this. It's
I think that's all I had.
A feeling
oh
of
yeah,
like,
I
just lying to the audience and then telling the truth is not the same thing as pulling off a twist. And so
yeah,
it's like,
no, it's just like, oh, it was that interesting.
the whole time. Whoa, how could I have known that this father character who's never been introduced before created Aurora out of prayers and a machine, and now he wants to raise her as his own. Whoa, it was so obvious from the way she was really good at knowing about the explosion that was about to happen. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I also wrote down how old is she, asking for Vin's lawyer, Coke Zero plane, and then why not end in the forest from Logan. So those are my notes.
Why not end in the forest? Also, Logan is kind of Children of Men.
Logan is kind of Children of Men. Yeah, it sort of is. The Last Mutant. Yeah. And also better than Babylon AD.
It's
by
also quite a bit
substantial
better than
margin.
Babylon AD as well. It's like a premise that actually is quite good. It's like a good premise.
Yeah.
To force a disillusioned old person to like hang out and like accompany and befriend a younger person who bears the hope of the future is a great premise for a movie.
Yeah, The Last of Us is also kind of Children of Men.
Yeah. It's a good premise. It works.
It's a good premise, and Vin couldn't pull it off.
No. He couldn't.
Preston, do you have any more thoughts on this piece of shit?
I think. Oh, I have thoughts. I do like that this religion has clearly enough money and power to have a huge like skyscraper with a sweet meeting room, and they also have the money to. Gorski has this line where he's like, "Oh, you need a nuke to hit me in my flat screen armored truck," and then they fire an actual missile at him. And I feel like if they had the money for both a missile and also a skyscraper like that, I feel like they didn't.
Yeah, they could have just sent their own people
this
to
random
go get
guy
her.
to,
Well,
like, tote
especially
this
because she
girl
was
all over the
already
place.
in their possession.
Like it. Yeah, it seems like they could have. Right.
Picked her up
Yeah, it seems like they could have just like flown a helicopter there,
to an airbase.
put her in the helicopter,
taken her on a
and then
plane.
like flown
Yeah.
the helicopter to a plane, and then just flew her on the airplane. Rather than, hey, we're gonna have a helicopter with a magnet pick up a car. Then we're gonna drop the car off.
Yeah, that's true.
In the middle
I
of
was
They're
not
going
nowhere,
to drive
and
all
then
the way
this
back.
guy's
They're going
gonna
to drive
all the
to a
way back.
submarine, and then they're going to submarine to, I believe, a plane, a Coke Zero branded plane.
That's true. Sorry. We're gonna
Okay, wait.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
Other weird
this
thing
thing
is
for
they're crossing
no
the
goddamn
the
reason.
Bering Strait, right? So they're on the far east side of Russia. They're going into Alaska.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
That, I think, was right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're crossing over the Arctic Circle. They get to like Canada,
I believe so.
and then Michelle Yeoh walks in and says, "We got a bus. It's 2 hours until New York." And I don't know if like buses in the future travel at like hypersonic speeds, but Canada's it's pretty big. New York's about as far away from Alaska as a thing can possibly be while still being on the same landmass. It's a bullet bus that
Ooh,
travels
this-
Mach 17.
It's a bullet bus.
Starring Brad Pitt, Bullet Bus.
John, you could feel it. Let's just let this one go.
It's so good, though.
No, that's just Speed.
It's right.
It's just Speed.
It's right there.
It's just
It's
Speed.
right there, Lincoln.
It's just Speed. They
It's
already
right
made that
there.
movie.
I know, but then they made it again with Speed 2 Cruise Control, a movie we're probably going to watch on this podcast, I assume, at some point.
I gotta start adding Cruise Control to my like pretend sequels. That's a great sequel name.
among my favorites. Yeah,
like
for
it's up
sure.
there with The Trench and Electric Boogaloo.
And Too Furious. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I would
This is a
love
bad
to
movie
hear.
that you made us watch, Lincoln.
I would love to hear from you guys why you think I made you watch this movie.
I think you made us watch this movie because you're interested in the idea of us all getting together and funding a Coke Zero plane. I think that's what it is.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. Preston, what do you think?
What did I say earlier?
Well, you said a lot of things, and for that we're very proud of you.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
You're
to
really-
what you're referring.
You're welcome.
You were a force on this
You
podcast.
didn't. Hey, Preston, hold on. Everybody, let's pause this for a second. Preston, you didn't draw anything during this episode, and I'm proud of you for that. That's a big moment
I
for
did
you.
not. I know.
We know it was hard. We know it
How's
was
what?
difficult.
That's a
but we're
big
glad you did
moment
it.
for you.
Oh yeah, thank you. I thank you for
Believing in you.
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I think if that's how we wait, Preston, you have to say why you think I chose this movie.
I think you made us watch this movie because you saw the title one too many times on whatever streaming platform and said, "Man, I sure wonder what that title would ever refer to."
I think that's pretty close. If by title you
And there
mean
you go.
DVD on the shelf at the thrift store. Okay, let's.
Was there
That's more on brand for you. You're right.
Was there a small part of you that was hoping this was going to be a Vineyard backdoor pilot?
No. Even though I actually did purchase Vin Diesel Fueled for Success, and I've been reading it.
Oh my God! Have you read it? It's so good. And
course
also,
you did.
why would you write? We got to talk about this at some point, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why this movie is bad, because Vin Diesel isn't in a car for long enough, and
That
he never
could be.
drives the
That
car.
is literally partly why it's bad. Like that's not a controversial
actually.
take. Vin Diesel doesn't get to like do his cool stuff. He gets to fight like one guy and then he gets to run away from missiles. Okay, let's do equivalent punishment.
This
This
movie is
movie-
the cinematic equivalent of walking into a Subway and you walk up to the guy and you can say, "Hey, I would like a sandwich," and he just looks you dead in the eyes and he goes, "Yeah, me too, bud," and then nothing happens.
This is the cinematic equivalent to when you're in a room that's a little too warm for long sleeves and a little too cold for short sleeves, and you do that awkward thing where if you have long sleeves, you kind of shuffle them up your forearms, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a little too cold," then you shuffle them back down, and you have to be in that room for 6 hours.
This is the cinematic equivalent of when you're having a conversation that just has a few too many uncomfortable pauses in it.
Ah,
This is the cinematic equivalent of going through the whole process of A/B testing subject headers for your emails and then realizing you don't own a business and you're not trying to market anything.
that sounded a little close to home. Were you doing this?
What? Excuse me?
This is the cinematic equivalent to someone that you know only using the word "my fiance" to refer to the person in their life that they're engaged to, and you never learn their name and you think they might be made up.
Similar kind of vibe. This is the cinematic equivalent to when you don't know somebody's name, so you introduce them to somebody that you do know, and you're like, "Oh, this is my friend Greg," and then they don't say their name, they just shake their hand, and they're like, "Good to know you," and you're like, "Are you fucking goddamn kidding me right now? That was clearly a way for me to learn your name."
This is a cinematic equivalent to when you have a cold and you feel like there's something stuck at the back of your throat, and every attempt to cough can't seem to dislodge it. So you just kind of have to just wait it out and hope God takes care of it.
Yeah. I think that was it.
Great. Well, thank you for... Oh, no, we can't outro yet. Email us.
Yeah,
it's not time for
you
outro.
just hold your horses.
Email us at mprph@gmail.com. Or is it
Lincoln.
mprph podcast?
NPR.
Lincoln,
it's-
I haven't told
it's
you what
NPR
movie you're
page.
watching
Oh,
yet.
yeah, you haven't even told us what movie.
Well, yeah.
Tell us what
Yeah, we'll
movie
get
I'm
to that.
watching.
Preston,
Tell me
what are we
which
watching
cut
next
of
week?
Rebel Moon I'm watching, Preston. Please.
No, Preston, what non-rebel
Well,
movie
it's
are
funny
we
you should
watching?
mention that. Because
I don't
Fuck!
as much as I would like us to watch certain movies that may or may not start with an R and end with an Ebel Moon. And I feel that it is fully within my right to force you to watch that amount of movie now that you've opened the floodgates by making us watch two of them.
One of them was really good, though. One of them was really good.
You're not wrong. That's besides the point. As much as I would love to make you guys watch Rebel Moon, I think instead I have something much better and or worse that you should watch. We will be watching R.I.P.D.
Oh, no. I don't want it. I'd rather watch a Rebel Moon for 4 hours.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Is this the Rest in Peace department?
It is.
This is the Ryan Reynolds
with
one, right?
Ryan Reynolds and I think Jeff Bridges.
Half-hearted Hellboy looking ass
yeah.
Jeff Bridges. Okay, do we have associated homework?
Oh yeah, is there homework?
And Kevin Bacon. It's got Kevin Bacon in it too.
Is the homework watch the
Do you
directed
have
streaming
homework?
sequel?
Watch what?
The directed streaming sequel?
Yeah, what's our homework?
Oh.
No, Preston, don't think
No,
about that.
I'm
That
not-
was a
I'm not
joke.
gonna-
Oh, thank God. Fuck me. Okay.
I thought about it, but I'm not gonna do that.
Ha.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be.
Yes.
Ah,
No homework.
classic
no
sub.
homework.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour. Lincoln is right. You can email us. Lincoln is wrong. The email is mprphpodcast@gmail.com.
Have we gotten any emails?
Yeah, it's let me check. Let me check right now. I'll give us a little looky-loo. What do you guys want to talk about while it's loading? Cool
I want to
stuff.
talk about Rest in Peace Department. I remember seeing a trailer and thinking, this looks awful. I was in the theaters and saw a trailer
Yes.
for it and thought, I don't want to watch this movie.
We got an email from Google Play telling us that we can manage our personalization on Google Play. And we got an email from Spotify for podcasts. That's what it says. And there's a mobile app. So no, we have not received any emails. Please email us at mprphpodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to double check that that's correct. Yeah, mprphpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. You will get on the show unless it has a big bad word that we can't say that isn't fuck or shit or ass.
Only one of those three. If you say damn, we cannot.
No,
read
you
it
can't say
on
that,
the air.
Lincoln. That's too much. Actually, you know what would be so funny? Actually, hey, wait. If you guys are listening to this, if you do email us, do the subject line fuck. Just the word fuck would be so funny.
Yes, it would. I would love that.
I would love that. I would love to receive that email.
Is it
Otherwise,
just
we're on
fun to
YouTube
imagine
technically.
having an audience that we can galvanize towards anything at all?
It does sound incredible.
Yeah.
Otherwise we rate the show, like the show, share the show with your friends or enemies, and I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. We'll see you next time with Rest in Peace Department. For now, thank you for listening to MPRPH. I have been Brother Lincoln. I could crash you from here.
There we go. I have been Brother John, and just as we live by the rules of Dinotopia, so must we be prepared to die.
And I have been Brother Preston.
Brother Jerkin at Preston.
Goodbye.